Gold Rush. When it comes to reality television dynasties, Discovery's Gold Rush stands as one of the most fascinating. For over a decade, viewers have been captivated by the towering machinery, high-stakes gambles, and bitter cold landscapes of the Yukon. At the center of it all are two titans of the gold mining world, Parker Schnabel and Tony Beets. Both have carved out their own legacies, but a closer look reveals that Tony Beets, the so-called King of the Klondike, may be pulling in millions more than his younger counterpart. That gap is more than just numbers. It tells the story of experience, empire building, and a relentless drive to dominate the dirt. The rise of Parker Schnabel. When Gold Rush began, Parker Schnabel was still a teenager. The son of a mining family, he inherited not only the desire to dig, but also the responsibility of leading a crew far older than himself. Over the years, fans watched him transform from a green but eager rookie into one of the most efficient operators in the Yukon. His secret has always been volume. Massive yards moved, streamlined efficiency, and crews that function with military precision. Every season, Parker pushes harder, demanding more from his equipment and his people. His youth has often been painted as both an advantage and a disadvantage. On one hand, he possesses endless energy and bold ideas. On the other, he lacks the decades of connections and hard-won wisdom that older miners wield like weapons. By his mid-20s, Parker had already mined tens of millions in gold. His name became synonymous with ambition, his brand expanding to tours, fan events, and international recognition. Yet despite all the gold bars stacked in his accounts, the comparison with Tony Beets shows that raw volume is only part of the game. Tony Beets. The empire builder Tony Beets is more than just a miner. He is a symbol of old-school grit and relentless perseverance. Known for his booming voice, commanding presence, and iron-willed leadership, Beets has built an operation that resembles a kingdom rather than a crew. Unlike Parker, Tony did not stumble into success through inherited land or television fame. He clawed his way into the industry through decades of backbreaking labor and calculated risk-taking. He expanded his reach not just by running wash plants, but by purchasing and reviving massive pieces of mining history, such as his infamous dredges. Where Parker chases season-to-season totals, Tony has positioned himself for long-term generational wealth. He owns enormous tracts of land, multiple mining sites, and a loyal workforce that includes his own family. His children, Monica, Mike, and Kevin, have all played integral roles, making the Beets operation not just a mining company, but a family dynasty in the making. Counting the gold. Who really earns more on television? Viewers often see Parker with staggering season totals, sometimes pulling in over $10 million worth of gold in a single year. By contrast, Tony's numbers are usually portrayed as steady but less flashy. However, the real story unfolds off-camera. Tony Beets makes millions more than Parker Schnabel because of three critical factors: ownership, diversification, and longevity. Ownership of land and equipment. Parker often leases ground, paying hefty royalties to landowners. Every ounce of gold he uncovers is partially eaten by agreements that funnel profit elsewhere. Tony, on the other hand, owns vast stretches of Yukon territory outright. That means the gold dug from his claims translates directly into Beets' family revenue without the constant bite of leasing fees. Diversification of income beyond mining. Tony has invested in equipment, infrastructure, and land that continue to yield profits whether cameras are rolling or not. His revival of historic dredges may have seemed eccentric at first, but these machines, when operational, allow for consistent extraction at relatively low cost. Additionally, Tony's ownership model means his children's operations remain under the Beets umbrella, keeping wealth circulating within the family. Longevity and experience. With decades of experience, Tony has weathered market crashes, labor shortages, and the punishing Arctic seasons. This resilience ensures that while Parker may hit higher peaks in certain seasons, Tony maintains steady, generational gains that outstrip the younger miner's earnings in the long run. The power of television royalties. Another overlooked element is the role of television itself. Both Parker and Tony benefit handsomely from appearing on Gold Rush. Parker, being a fan favorite, commands attention and global recognition. Yet Tony's larger-than-life persona, his gruff wisdom, and family dynamics make him indispensable to the show's success. Insider reports and speculative breakdowns suggest that Tony Beets may command a higher per-episode salary than Parker due to his seniority, fan base loyalty, and the fact that multiple members of his family also receive screen time. When stacked together, the Beets family could very well be earning a collective paycheck that dwarfs Parker's solo cut. Parker's future. Playing catch-up. Parker Schnabel's work ethic is unquestionable. Each season, he proves his ability to break records, outproduce competitors, and dominate the leaderboard. But his future earnings may depend on whether he follows Tony's model of ownership and diversification. At present, Parker is still paying royalties, leasing land, and relying on short-term contracts. If he transitions into owning more ground outright, he could rival Tony's empire. Until then, the millions he generates each season will always be chipped away by obligations to others. Another factor is Parker's personal life. Mining is not just about physical resources, it is also about legacy. Tony's children are already being groomed to carry the Beets name into future decades. Parker, by contrast, has yet to reveal a clear path for passing on his operation or creating a multi-generational enterprise. Tony Beets. The legacy factor cannot underestimate the value of legacy. Tony Beets is not simply mining for himself, he is building a dynasty. With each season, he integrates his children deeper into the operation, ensuring that when he steps aside, the family business continues seamlessly. This long-term approach means that every ounce mined today sets the stage for decades of prosperity. In this sense, Tony's millions extend beyond personal profit. They represent an empire designed to last long after the television cameras stop rolling. Fans' perceptions. The battle of titans among fans, the Parker versus Tony debate, remains one of the most heated aspects of Gold Rush. Parker's supporters admire his tenacity, modern methods, and youth, viewing him as the face of the future. Tony's admirers, meanwhile, respect his traditional grit, larger-than-life personality, and empire-building approach. The truth is that both represent different sides of the mining coin. Parker exemplifies speed, efficiency, and ambition. Tony represents endurance, ownership, and the vision of legacy. But when it comes to sheer wealth, the scales tip in Tony's favor. His empire, bolstered by land, equipment, family labor, and television royalties, secures him millions more than Parker season after season. Beyond the gold. A cultural phenomenon. The financial rivalry between Tony and Parker extends beyond bank accounts. It is central to Gold Rush's cultural appeal. Viewers are not just watching piles of dirt being shifted, they are witnessing a generational clash, a narrative of youthful ambition versus seasoned wisdom. Tony Beets' ability to consistently out-earn Parker serves as a reminder that in industries like mining, success is not just about immediate numbers. It is about what you own, how you plan for the future, and whether you can turn fleeting opportunities into permanent wealth. Conclusion: why Tony Beets still reigns supreme at first glance. Parker Schnabel's towering gold totals make him seem like the dominant miner of Gold Rush. Yet behind the scenes, Tony Beets quietly transforms his steady haul into millions more. Ownership, diversification, family legacy, and television royalties form the bedrock of his empire. While Parker embodies ambition and energy, Tony represents stability and vision. The King of the Klondike has proven that experience, patience, and empire-building trump even the most dazzling season totals. As long as the Yukon yields its riches, Tony Beets will likely continue making millions more than Parker Schnabel, and in the process, he cements his reign as the ultimate titan of Gold Rush. The glittering landscapes of the Klondike have long been the stage for fortune seekers, dreamers, and warriors of the earth. Among them, two names dominate the conversation whenever fans tune into Gold Rush: Parker Schnabel and Tony Beets. For years, the rivalry has fueled speculation about who mines smarter, who runs a tighter crew, and most importantly, who walks away with the bigger payday. Many assume that Parker, with his high-volume seasons and relentless ambition, must be the top earner. Yet whispers from the Yukon suggest otherwise. Tony Beets, the so-called King of the Klondike, may be making millions more than Parker, not simply from the gold in the ground, but from the empire he has carefully built around it. Parker Schnabel. The young Titan Parker Schnabel's story has always been one of meteoric rise. Introduced to viewers as a teenager, he carried the burden of leading a crew twice his age. What set him apart was an unshakable determination to prove himself, to move more dirt, and to squeeze every ounce of value from each claim he touched.